Narayana. Hari Om and good morning from Grand Bend. I'm going to begin by asking all of you a riddle. And if you have the answer to this riddle, just keep it to yourself. You know, some people don't know riddle culture. You ask a riddle and they say the answer right away. And then everyone else can't enjoy. What 4-word phrase, and each word has 4 letters in it. When you say it to a happy person, they become sad. And you say this to a sad person, they become happy. So how many words in the phrase? 4. How many letters in each word? 4. And they're all English words. Happy person becomes sad, person becomes happy. The second word is this. Third word is will. First word is even. Even this will pass. Pass. Change has 5 letters in it. Even this will pass. In our lifestyle choices, which is based on our vision, you can live at the end of the spoke on this wheel of life. And if you live on the end of the spoke, you'll keep on rising and falling, rising and falling. And as you rise, you'll feel like this is the end, but then there's a fall and you feel this is the end. And we live in a very fatalistic way then. It's always, this is the end. Or you can have the vision to live at the hub of those spokes. And that hub is never crushed. That hub is always centered. Ramayana teaches us what the nature of this multiverse is. This multiverse keeps rising and falling, like stock prices, like presidents, like the weather, like internet connections, and on and on and on. And Ramayana teaches us that the nature of this multiverse is not your nature. Your nature is Rama. Rama doesn't rise or fall because Rama is absolute. We use words like independently joyous, independently peaceful, to teach us that it's not relative. We live in such a relative way that we feel sorrow is natural. Stress is good for us. But these are lies. So as we continue to study Vedanta and Ramayana, to really invoke being centered rather than depending on compliments and criticism. And we are going to need this now more than ever because we're about to enter Ayodhya Kanda, which is one of the hardest kandas in Ramayana. But before we get into that negativity, let's focus on some positivity. Balakanda ended with Mother Sita and Bhagwan Rama's reception. And in this, Goswamiji, he has such attention to detail. He's sharing how Mother Sita keeps feeding Bhagwan Rama. Bhagwan Rama keeps feeding her. We do that in our tradition too, correct? That came from Sanatana Dharma. While they're eating, there's people that are walking around the families and teasing each other. people play the dholak and they start saying, now this person should come in the middle and this person is like this and this person is like this. That's also mentioned by Goswamiji. It's shared that when Raja Dasharatha was leaving Mithila to go back to Ayodhya, Raja Janaka was following him. Imagine the father-in-law's following Bhagwan Rama's father, and every time he couldn't help but embrace him. He was hugging him, then they'd walk some more time, then he'd go back and hug him again, and then walk some more and go back and hug him again. There was such a natural love between Raja Janaka and Raja Dasharatha. And Goswamiji even shares that when Mother Sita was leaving Mithila, that all of her birds started crying, saying, why are you leaving us? And not just the birds, even all of the rest of the leaders, the kings in Mithila, they were all crying too, saying that our daughter is leaving now. And if you study this more deeply, see, we keep saying that our princess, our daughter, but she's actually reuniting with her own self, correct? And it's that attachment that makes us cry. That you shake off that rust to start to move, but it hurts in the beginning, but it's necessary. As all of these celebrations are happening, Raja Janaka and Raja Dasharatha are being so generous. Goswamiji says their generosity makes those who they're being generous to self-supporting. That's such a beautiful way to give, that you give in such a way that they'll never ask for more. See, we give, but people still need more. But when it came to these great leaders, they gave where those people never had to ask for more. That's what real dana is. And anything that was left over in all of this giving, Raja Janaka and Raja Dasharatha accepted as prasad. In other words, they gave first and kept second. What do? We always keep first, and whatever's left over, we give that. When actual prasad is you give first and get afterwards. There's so much detail about how we should live in our Ramayana. This is how we ended Balakanda, and now to officially begin Ayodhya Kanda, I'm going to share a famous invocation shloka, which you all know, but I think we fail to appreciate the depth of this shloka. I'm chanting shloka 3 of Ayodhya Kanda. So it's page 249 in my book, but it's shloka 3. It's not a chopai or a doha, it's a shloka. This is in Sanskrit. Neelam bhujashamala komalangam Sita samarombita vama bhagam Pano mahasaya kacharu chapam Namami ramam raghuvam shanatham. You've all heard this shloka before. Everyone here, you've all heard that shloka. Okay. What shloka number did I say it was? So what about the first 2 shlokas? I'll explain. Goswamiji begins with an invocation shloka towards Bhagwan Shiva. And he's describing how Bhagwan Shiva has the Ganga in his head, the moon in his brow, the poison in his throat, the snakes around his chest. He's going into a lot of detail about that. The next shloka that he describes is how when Bhagwan Rama was asked to become the next king, he was glowing. And then when he was told that he's not going to be the next king, what did he do? He was glowing. And then comes this shloka that says, every limb of Bhagwan Rama is as soft as a dark blue lotus. That he is the one who has Mother Sita on his left. That in his hands he has this great bow and arrows. And so we prostrate to that person who is the ruler, the leader of the Raghu Vamsha. And the next shloka, just to cover all of them, you know this shloka too. Please chant with me. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja Nijamana Mukura Sudhari Varanau Raghuvara Vimala Jasu Jodaya Kupalachari. This is the first doha of an Ayodhya Kanda. Where do you know this from? Where did it come from? From Goswamiji's Ramayana. Okay. So I've given you this from a katha sense, but what is the Vedanta to all of this? Goswamiji is describing Bhagavan Shiva that he has a cool head and he has a hot throat. That poison heats up his body, but this is always checked because of his cool head, because of the Ganga that's flowing there. And that's the message for us at a Vedantic level, is that when someone sees you, they should see your cool head first. Then it doesn't matter what's happening underneath, correct? Hot, cold, it doesn't matter. The important part is that cool head. His hot throat doesn't poison him. Now, you and I don't ingest poison, but you know what happens to us when we live life? We become bitter. When you don't have a cool head, that hot throat, like acid reflux, keeps rising, and we become bitter. But Bhagavan Shiva never became bitter. He still served those devatas, correct? The same devatas that made him swallow that poison. What Swami Ramayana had shared, he said, it is mature people that have to swallow the poison of immature people. That poison's going to come. It is the responsibility of mature people to swallow that poison to prevent the immature people from being harmed. If our children say something to us, they use a bad word, use that bad word back at them. If this is what I am, this is what you are. Right? What kind of parenting would that be? You're all saying practical parenting. What Goswamiji is essentially showing is that he's asking Bhagavan Shiva to bless him because he's going to find it very difficult to describe what's going to happen in Ayodhya Kanda. And he needs that grace to go through that hardship. And he's narrating it. But see how much he identifies with this. For him, it's not a katha. For him, it's his own life. For us too, there will be hardships. With our own family particularly, we need this grace to keep a cool head. And there's an interesting saying in Hindi, which is not so philosophical, but here's the saying. Your feet should be garam. What does garam mean? Hot. That means you're always very active. Your stomach should be naram. What does naram mean? Soft or slim. Okay? Soft belly can also be me. Yeah, very soft belly. I like to play on it and sleep on it. Slim. Your head should be thanda. So garam, naram, and thanda. Thanda means cool. And if you can follow this, if a physician comes near you, usko maro danda. In other words, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. If you're active and healthy and cool, no doctor is needed then. That's how Bhagavan Shiva was, right? Garam, naram, and thanda. He doesn't need a doctor. That's how we should live also. So that's some of the Vedanta. In the second shloka, I told you about Bhagavan Rama's glow. When compliments came in, unchanged. When criticism came in, unchanged. Today I was asking the class I was just teaching, how would you redesign this camp? And they told me two things. First thing is, this camp should be longer. This camp should be 5 days, 6 days. Second is, we should have less classes. So see, I felt compliments, and then criticism. criticism. And I told him, that's why I'm glad you're not designing this, this camp. So from Bhagavan Rama's glow, we learn to be centered. And now the main shloka I wanted to talk to you about. When Bhagavan Rama's limbs are described, that is Balakanda. This one shloka gives you the whole table of contents for all of Ramayana. So when his limbs are described as soft, he hasn't gone to the forest yet, correct? He's a healthy leader. So this is Balakanda. Then Mother Sita's on his left. What's being described? Ayodhya Kanda. Comes up in that next quarter. Then he has a bow in his hand. Is Aranya Kanda all the way to Yuddha Kanda. And then he's known as the Lord of the Raghuvamsha. That's Uttarakanda. So in all of this one shloka that we chant, very casually, is shown the whole summary of Ramayana. How wonderful this shloka is. This is how our lives are going to be too. We were all born with soft skin, correct? And you got married. And there's hardships that come with that. But the entire time, you have to lead. And who do you have to lead first? Yourself. He is Raghu. He's leading himself. That makes him the leader of the rest of the family. In our case, if we are miserable kids or miserable parents, what happens to everyone else in our home? They tend to become miserable too. But if you have a great spouse or a great child, your misery doesn't shake them, which makes you more miserable. But it shouldn't shake you. I told a young lady today, I said, if you care for your family, you will care for yourself. Because as long as you don't care for yourself, your family has to worry about you, correct? Bhagavan Rama is looking after himself so he can look after others. And then we came to the Doha, which is also from Hanuman Chalisa. In this, what we study is that Raghuvara is described. Now in Hanuman Chalisa, who's the best in the lineage of the Raghus? Hanumanji, correct? But in Ramayana, that's not the case. Hanumanji is not even here yet. In Ayodhya Kanda, who is the best of the Raghus? The first half is describing Bhagavan Rama. Then all of this change comes, but he stays strong. And you know who's described in the second half? Sri Bharata. Raghuvara shifts to Sri Bharata in the second half of Ayodhya Kanda because we learn from that what love is. He was only focused on Bhagavan Rama and nothing that was around him. King, no king, parents, no parents. It was only joy. He made his priority in life Rama, which is joy. When someone is joyous, they become fearless. Sri Bharata was fearless, no? He was ready to go see Lord Rama even at the cost of death. But he made Bhagavan Rama a focus. And he said, unless you come back, I am going to end my embodiment. So what was his focus on his head? Again, Bhagavan Rama. Now, if we think of our lives, what did we do this past week? Did we focus on pleasure, possession, position? Or did we focus on peace? So Raghuvara, Sri Rama, then Sri Bharata. You'll find that each kanda begins with prayers. And what Swami Swarupananda had said, why do we pray? He said prayer is for the release of our own potential. When you pray, your own potential is released. We always make prayers extrovert. Give me this or change that person. But actual prayer is called an invocation. We call them invocation prayers. It is about finding oneself. Now that we're ready for what's going to happen in Ayodhya Kanda, I'll share one more portion of Ayodhya Kanda, highly practical. I'm on the second section of Chopais. I'm reading the 4th verse, line 1. So that was 241 on page 250. Shravana Samipa Bhai Sita Kesa Manahu Jarata Panu Asa Upadesa. One day Raja Dashrata is looking out at his kingdom. And incidentally, as he's looking out at his kingdom, he's focusing his eyes. And as he's focusing his eyes, he tends to see himself. And when he sees himself, what he realizes is that the kesa near his Shravana is becoming gray, is becoming white. He's realizing that he's getting old. And how Goswamiji interprets this, he says that is a message. The gray hair is the messenger from whom? Yamaduta. That's how the Lord of Death gives his business card. When you start seeing white hair over here, come. And whether you choose to come or not, you are coming. How can you not love the scriptures when they say, we see gray hair, we see a L'Oreal commercial, dye your hair. You don't need that gray hair. But in Sanatana Dharma, Bhagavan of Death is calling you. So you may as well be ready for that. When he sees this gray hair, instead of thinking about dyeing his hair, he started inquiring. Instead of dyeing, inquiring. Who am I? Where am I going? What will happen to mine? And so on and so forth. And at that time, he made the sankalpa that he should not be the king anymore, but it should be Bhagavan Rama. Now he's the king. When he had this sankalpa, what did he do? He texted everyone, okay, group text, Bhagavan Rama will be the next king. The first thing he did is he went to Rishi Vashishta and said, and that's their Kula Guru. Their family is guided by Rishi Vashishta. And he told Rishi Vashishta about his sankalpa, saying that this is the sankalpa that's come to me. Yama has sent this sankalpa to me. What should I do? See, he never acted on impulse. He was not an emotional person. He always was in tune to the grace of God. He was observant. He thought about it. And what Swami Tejramananda shared about this, he said, when you ask for permission, now you think at any level, when you ask for permission, you are training your mind to remember that there's someone above you. It's a training by asking permission. How many of you have been to the Golden Temple in Amritsar? To walk into that Golden Temple, what should you be wearing? Your head should be covered. Male, female, kids, older people, doesn't matter. Why? Because you're going to the Guru Dwara. See, we always use that word, Guru Dwara. But are you interpreting the words? This is the doorway to the Guru. Once you walk into the doorway, where does the Guru live? In the mandir. That's why traditionally our mandirs were not just about karma, it was also about jnana, traditionally. Now that tradition has been broken, correct? Now we needed to create ashrams that focus on vidya, and the mandirs focus on karma. But why the separation? It's inefficient. When you go into the Gurudwara, you cover your head as if the Guru's hand is on your head. That you're being graced by the Guru, and you should also remember to be humble. So lovely, these traditions. So here, Raja Dasharatha. Dasharatha means the one who can operate in 10 different directions. He's that efficient as an administrator. He's arguing here, making up here, negotiating here, thinking here, hugging here, loving here, etc., etc., etc. He's capable. And he asks his Kulaguru. It shows his training. And it shows that if his father is like that, then certainly his son will also be like that, but greater. Because Raja Dasharatha may not have had such training from the beginning, but it's like momentum building. So you may not know a lot, but your kids now may know more, correct? And if your kids keep up with it, then their kids are going to know even more. So you build that momentum towards such knowledge, towards such traditions. And do you think Rishi Vashishtha is going to say, no, that's a wrong sankalpa? He's obviously going to wholeheartedly agree with this. And I will share more details next week. But there's going to be one error that happens in this whole process. What is that error going to be? We should make him the king. When? Tomorrow. But when he came back from Lanka, they acted right away. The Vedanta part of this error is, when are we all planning to be happy? Tomorrow you're planning to be happy tomorrow. But since you're all at the retreat, you're saying today, but wait till tomorrow comes. Then you'll say Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday. Then you'll look in the window and you'll see Yamaduta is there. See, the Katha is beautiful. The Vedanta is even more beautiful. We must plan and implement being happy, not even today, right now. Is there anyone who doesn't want to be happy forever? I'm waiting for some kid to put their hand up. Kids love They can say that because they already are happy. So we always think of forever as in the future. But if you interpret this rightly, being happy forever means being happy for moment. That's the same as being happy forever. It's not the future, it's the present. So now we know what happens if we plan to be happy tomorrow. Oh.